Bros, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. I'm sick of the hype. Overhyped friggin' garbage. This is my pink energy drink. Don't judge me. It's all sugar. It's just sugar. It's healthy. But the hype. Today, we need fragrances that are intoxicating, which means good. Compliment pullers, attention grabbers, mass appealers that are not overhyped. All of them linked in the description. Oh, what is the button to get a button? Huh? Sul. Ah, yes, of course, Gaultier. They've never had any fragrances hype before, right? Yeah, never mind. Yeah, they have. But interestingly enough, the line that is possibly the best at pulling attention, or right up there with them, right there, gets hyped very, very little. It's Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal. And I'm going with the OG, because of course, with fragrance lines nowadays, the original often gets completely overlooked. It happens time and time again, no matter how popular the original is. It's always like, oh, it's the eau de parfum is the one you want. The other one's lame and stupid. Or whatever, insert flanker here. The flanker is always hyped more. So yeah, Scandal. This stuff works. Like really, really, really well, especially fall and winter time, which is when it's best suited. And this stuff just really, again, online, doesn't get talked about all that much. It's got a nice blend of aromatics and sweetness, so it has a good warmth to it. You know, this sort of tonka meets aromatic meets caramel kind of vibe. But even though it has those sweet notes, it's not overdone. At least to me, it doesn't come across, syrupy, headache inducing, anything like that. It's balanced really nicely. The performance is there. The compliment factor is there. Now, I did, just talk about this, but as far as the line goes, I do like the Absolute the most. So technically, there is a flanker that I have talked about a lot more that I think is top notch, but we're talking less hyped stuff today. And this is still absolutely killer. Like, this can go toe to toe with fragrances like Stronger With You, Intensely, or The Most Wanted as far as how much attention it pulls, but it gets talked about way less than those. It's good. Now, I just kind of made fun of what I am about to do, but I don't care. We're doing it anyway. It is Hero Eau de Parfum. Yeah. Sometimes, to be fair, it is true. The whole, they get it better with the Eau de Parfum. Sometimes that happens. What do you want from me, man? The cap, magnetic, which means it's automatically +1 as far as how good the fragrance is. Thankfully though, this one, Hero Eau de Parfum, doesn't even need the extra +1 point because it's just the best Hero that there is as far as bang for your buck. The new Elixir is really good as well, but if we're talking just straight up usability, versatility, mass appeal, all that stuff, the Eau de Parfum probably still gonna be the best choice for most people. So it's gonna have that cedar woodiness that the line is known for, multiple types of cedar all put together. The original, the Eau de Toilette, that one's gonna be more versatile, easier to wear day to day if we're talking about like a daytime or evening or office or anytime type of scent. That one's better for that. But the Eau de Parfum is gonna be the sexier of the two because it has a nice sweetness to it, this sort of resinous feel that it has alongside that cedar. So it's not quite as fresh, but it does smell more enticing. Also, I'm gonna say for most people, the Parfum is not gonna be as nice as a daily wear or a more usable evening, fall, wintertime fragrance than the Eau de Parfum. And also the Parfum Intense, not quite as nice. If I were gonna whittle the Hero line down to just 3 scents, it'd be the Eau de Parfum first, then probably the Elixir, but then the most versatile, the Eau de Toilette. And even though a lot of people out there do know how good this stuff is, it is less talked about, less hyped than a lot of the other big ones out there, like the Stronger With Yous and the Most Wanteds and stuff like that. The next one is Galatea. This is from Elixir. And this basically just smells edible. And that's because it's a clone of Bianco Latte. And thankfully, at least in the US, it's now actually available, at least as of this video. So you don't have to go tracking it down, going on eBay and all that sort of junk. Now, as I said, it smells edible. It's like sweet on top of sweet, great atomizer. Caramel, tonka, honey, vanilla, just all the things. Really solid staying power, and it is one of those fragrances that has been duped to death. There are a lot of alternatives to that fragrance out there. Now, admittedly, I have not smelled every single Bianco Latte clone out there. There are a few, but of the ones that I own, this is the best one. And I will say that this one is sort of like straight up unisex, maybe leaning slightly feminine, but that owes to just the fragrance itself, you know, the type of scent that it is. Actually, no, I think women would smell fantastic with that, so maybe it leans a little more feminine. Yeah. Eros, nah, Jim. Nah, Jim. Yeah, nah, Jim. Nah, Jim. Najim. Now, I've talked about this one on the channel a number of times, and this is a fragrance that basically when it came out just got immediately crapped on. Just wearing a big old dookie as a hat. That's what was happening with this one. It came out originally as a Middle Eastern exclusive, and it was a little difficult to find. Basically, if you were in the US, you had to wait for it to pop up at discounters. You could scoop it up that way. That was pretty much it. And then randomly, Versace was like, nah, go ahead and release that in the US. Heck with it. So they just kind of dropped this all over the place. You know, they just were like, okay, well, it's a standard release now, I guess. And this is one of those fragrances where the opening, when I first smelled it, did not blow me away. But you know how it is. Over time, you wear the fragrance more, and actually, I still think the opening kind of sucks. Yeah, it didn't really grow on me. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes, you know, you wear it more times and you go, oh, it's actually not too bad. But, yeah. Now, to be fair, the opening doesn't smell like aggressively nasty. It's not that kind of vibe. It's not like you spray it on and you start gagging or anything like that. What it is it's just not really attention grabbing, the opening. You know, you have a little citrus in there, green, a little citrusy off the top, but just not really attention grabbing. Not like all the other Eros fragrances. You know, that's one of the things the line is known for. You spray it on, tester strip, skin, whatever, you smell and you go, ooh, yeah, I see why that gets attention. This one just doesn't measure up to the others off the top. And I realize at this point that I'm really not, you know, not really making this sound very good. The thing with Eros Najim is as it dries down, it gets like 10 times nicer. It smells freaking amazing in the air once you hit that dry down, or really once you hit the mid. It opens up, it smells rich, deep, warm, spicy, sweet, sexy, all at once. The note breakdown is a little bit simplistic. There's caramel in here, there's the citrus I talked about, there's cardamom, there's technically oud, patchouli, vetiver, incense. Man, once you hit the mid, once you hit the dry down, it smells magnetic. Just really, really top notch. And to be fair, while the opening doesn't really do much for me, if you spray this on and you love the opening, you're in for a good time because once it dries down, like I said, way better. This is one of those ones, spray it on 20 minutes, you know, 15 minutes before you walk out the door, you're gonna be gravy. All right, guys, the next scent is not for everybody. All right, it's a little more particular. Not that it's like a funky, dirty kind of vibe, that's not what I'm saying, but it's nowhere near as modern as these, first off. It's got a different kind of vibe. It's quite sweet, and I like it. You know, for the price you can get it for, it's pretty cheap and smells good. It's got a good pop to it, but it just won't tick every box for everybody. It is this right here, Ultra Red from Paco Rabanne. Had to make sure it was sitting correctly. Kind of a weird bottle style, right? It's supposed to look like a red light, so you'd be like, you know, doing this still. They also have ultraviolet, which you get a UV light, yeah. So yeah, the atomizer built in, you know, typical Rabanne with their strange bottles. And I've talked about this fragrance before. It used to be crazy pricey. This was discontinued. So the only place you could find this was eBay. I don't know if you have ever looked for discontinued fragrances on eBay. They are typically not cheap. Same deal with this. This was like $3.50, something like that. Pricey. And then one day, out of nowhere, just popped up at like every discounter and has pretty much been available since then for a low price. I got no clue what happened. I don't think Paco Rabanne suddenly was like, let's bring that fragrance back and not market it or promote it at all. We'll sell it strictly into discounters for 30 bucks. I don't think that happened, but they must have cracked like the motherlode warehouse of abandoned ultra red bottles, just like 50,000 bottles of it sitting there, and they were like, well, Let's liquidate these bad boys. And essentially overnight, if you were trying to sell these on eBay for $350, you got your kneecaps cut out from under you and then it was over. I actually bought multiple bottles of this. You know, I bought like a couple backup bottles when these did drop at that price point. I was like, man, this is amazing. And here we are years later, you can still find it cheap. Note breakdown, pretty simple, which is odd for a fragrance of this time. Usually they had really robust note breakdowns, but this one has praline and blood orange. Those are gonna be some of the main things that you pick up. Also vanilla, patchouli, and tonka. And it shares some vague similarities to Mugler's Ultra Zest, which is still discontinued and is still expensive. Mainly in the sense of it having a very sweet, orangey scent profile. You know, that praline, the vanilla, that together with the blood orange is gonna be the main stuff you get from this one. And technically the fragrance is turning an adult this year, 18 years old. So it does have like a little bit of a throwback feel to it compared to these, but this stuff still, for the people that love it, it rocks. And at the price point, solid. All right, I shrunk. Before we hit the next fragrance, coupon codes. These fragrance discounters, some of the absolute best out there. JOMASHOP, Fragflex, the Perfume Box, Beauty House. You can use these codes to save yourself an extra percentage off your order anytime you shop there. So if you're looking for better deals on clones, designers, niche, whatever, use these codes, save yourself some extra cash. The next one, French Avenue, and this is Zenith Santal. French Avenue has like slowly built out this Zenith line of fragrances. They never get talked about that much. They do look, for the most part, low key compared to, you know, most clone fragrance presentations. A lot of them can look a little insane from time to time, and this is just a cylinder. So what this is a clone, a dupe of Stronger With You Sandalwood, hence the color scheme and the name Santal. Now they do have another one from Fragrance World, which is, you know, the same company as this, and that one I have right over there, Proud of You Sandalo. And that one actually presentation-wise looks closer to Stronger. It looks really close. I mean, you know. So the same brand has two different clones of the same fragrance, just done differently. Between the two, as you would probably expect, the French Avenue is gonna be a little higher quality. It's gonna have a little more push to it. Has a little more complexity, but if you just want absolute best bang for your buck and you can find this one cheaper than that one, you can go for this. Do be aware between the two though, that this one, Proud of You Sandalo, is possibly gonna be one of those ones that you have to let mature a little bit, you know. Have to give it a couple sprays, let it sit for, you know, a few weeks, and then it gets better. This one was nicer right off the rip. And those Middle Eastern Stronger With You fragrances, they just keep getting more expensive as they're discontinued. This one, nice performance, very smooth, rich, and maybe slightly more focused on the sandalwood than the Stronger With You is. Still super sexy, really nicely done. Luna Rossa Ocean up next. This is the EDP. I know, you're like, Luna Rossa Ocean? That's pretty popular. It is. But does it get overly hyped? Not really. For the most part, Luna Rossa Ocean, one of those lines where people are like, shrug. Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Parfum, a fragrance that normal people love. Super versatile, nice blue fragrance energy, usable fall, winter, and if you wanted to, you could use it spring or summer as well. Daytime or evening, has a nice vanilla note in there, nice bit of sweetness. Also has amber woods, a little touch of incense, and a hint of citrus when you first spray the fragrance on. Longevity is pretty good, sticks around for a while. Projection, maybe not the most monstrous out there, but still, this is just one of those fragrances where you don't have to think about it at all. Grab, spray, go. Zimaya Modhesh Aura. Now, you may be able to peep a gander just at the bottle style here and tell right away, I know what that smells similar to. Yeah, you probably can, right? It is Le Male Elixir. Yeah, it is an elixir style fragrance, and there are a bunch of those out there for sure. But of all of the Le Male Elixir-ish frags out there, this one of the least talked about. And it's one of the best. About 30 bucks, that is your price point. Longevity, good. Projection, good. But as happens time to time with some Zimayas, kind of the same deal I talked about with this one. You may want to let it mature. Let it grow up a little bit. And I talked about this a little bit before as well, but that happens way more often with clone fragrances. Part of the reason is because they rush them through. So a lot of these bottles, you are getting them in hand, and they've only been in glass, like in the bottle itself, for like a week or two by the time you get it in your hand. So it's not had a whole heck of a lot of time to grow up. And that's much more of a problem with clone houses. They will just rush those MFers out and just throw them straight into your hand and you're like, okay, thank you very much. Anyway, back to this one. It's got the lavender, it's got the mint, it has benzoin, it's got vanilla. Tonka Amber Woods, just kind of the whole deal. Nice, rich, sweet, deep, but do be aware, as I said, that if you spray this on and it feels a little bit thin or it feels like unbalanced, you're gonna have to just do that. Oh, almost off the table. Do that, let it sit by the side, and then come back to it later and give it another rip. It's annoying, it is what it is. 212 VIP Black Elixir. Note breakdown sucks. Lavender, licorice, vanilla. Wow, I'm so excited. What a cool note breakdown. Magnetic cap. Yes. It's got a big lift to it, a zinginess when you first spray it on, kind of smacks you in the nose a little bit. It does have obviously a good dose of vanilla since it's one of 3 notes in here, but it's not as overwrought as a lot of other vanilla forward fragrances are nowadays. The licorice, a little bit woody, but has a little bite to it as well. The lavender keeps things clean, a little fresh when you first spray it on as well. Just a great scent that gets completely overlooked because honestly, the 212 line at this point, not too many people are checking for. Herrera, really weird like that. A lot of their scents outside the bad boy line, nobody seems to care about, and some of them are actually really good. It's just the lines themselves, you know, 212, CH Men, a lot of people are just, for better or worse, over it, I guess. They would have to come out with just an absolute world-beating fragrance to probably get those lines back where they used to be. Sometimes makes me think they'd be better off starting a new line alongside Bad Boy, but you know, still really good. We're gonna finish off with Ferragamo. Ferragamo. And this one right here is Intense Leather. Yeah, they basically killed off the Uomo line and they were like, let's go ahead and start a new line that is based around leather that absolutely nobody is really gonna be checking for. This is a genius business decision. Nice. Now, if you don't mind leather in your fragrances, this is legitimately a really good, versatile, daily wear type of leather scent. Now, in the note breakdown, there are earthy notes alongside the leather, which is questionable. A lot of people are gonna see that and be like, I don't know about that. But it works out surprisingly well because it's balanced out nicely with iris and red apple, along with a little bit of citrus, also clary sage, and some fresh pink pepper when you first spray it on. Now, I don't think it's going to appeal as much to younger guys because it doesn't have a whole lot of sweetness that comes through here. Instead, it keeps things a little bit more grown up, but still, like I said, a nice daily wear fragrance that does pull a surprising amount of attention, especially in more classy situations. Kind of walks that line. So there we go, guys. There's some fragrances. Not overhyped, but they can still hang with the big boys, for sure. I wanna thank you guys for hanging with me. You guys here until the end, always the MVPs. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.